The branding chamber reeked of scorched flesh and fear. Arden pressed himself against the ventilation shaft's grating, watching as another line of predator cubs shuffled forward, their eyes dulled by sedatives and despair. The Calraxian Empire had perfected the art of breaking spirits before bodies ever entered the arena. Below, a cub no older than 8 standard cycles trembled as the branding iron heated to white-hot intensity. The symbol of the Empire, 3 interlocking circles representing conquest, domination, and eternity, would soon mark her shoulder, claiming her as property. As it had claimed thousands before her, Arden had seen enough. The human dropped through the grating with practiced silence, his boots touching down between 2 guards before they could register his presence. The first fell to a nerve strike. The second managed half a shout before Arden's arm locked around his throat, cutting off sound and consciousness simultaneously. The cub stared at him with a mixture of confusion and primal recognition. Humans were legends here. Whispered stories of the species that had refused to kneel when the Calraxian fleets darkened their skies. The species that fought with such ferocity that the Empire had spent 3 decades trying to exterminate them rather than enslave them. "Anyone here still have some fight left?" Arden asked, his voice carrying across the chamber. One cub stepped forward. Her fur was matted, her frame thin from malnutrition, but her eyes burned with an intensity that reminded Arden why he'd risked everything to infiltrate this facility. She couldn't have been more than 10 cycles old, but she stood like a warrior. "I am Sira," she said, her voice steady despite the trembling of her limbs. "Daughter of Keth, Warden of the Southern Reaches. My father died refusing the Empire's mark. I will do the same." Arden felt something crack in his chest, that same sensation he'd felt when his own homeworld burned. He knelt to meet her eyes. "What if I told you there was another way? That you don't have to die to defy them? Then I would call you a liar," Sira replied. "The Empire cannot be defeated. Everyone knows this. Everyone's wrong." Arden stood, moving to the branding station. He manipulated the controls, overriding the temperature settings. "Your people, my people, we've been thinking too small. We've been fighting their war on their terms. But humans learned something a long time ago." He turned the branding iron in the flame, watching the metal glow. "You don't win by being stronger. You win by being remembered," alarms screamed to life. Arden had maybe 3 minutes before the facility's security descended on them. He grabbed the iron, feeling its heat even through his gloves, and pressed it against the metal wall. The human symbol, a clenched fist wrapped in chains that were breaking apart, burned into the steel. "Every cub who leaves here takes this symbol," Arden said, his voice rising above the alarms. "Not branded on their skin like slaves, but carried in their hearts like warriors. The Empire wants to own you. I'm offering you a choice to fight. They will kill us." A smaller cub whimpered from the back. "Probably," Arden admitted, "but they're going to kill you anyway. In the arenas, in the work camps, in whatever nightmare they've planned for you. At least this way, you die on your feet, and every Imperial soldier who sees this symbol will know fear." Sira's lips pulled back, revealing sharp teeth in something between a smile and a snarl. "Show us how." The next 2 minutes were chaos. Arden distributed weapons from the fallen guards. Energy batons, neural disruptors, anything the cub's small hands could wield. He showed them the facility's weak points, the places where the Empire's arrogance had created vulnerabilities. "The detention blocks are through that corridor," he explained, marking directions on their arms with a carbon stylus. "The power core is 3 levels down. The escape tunnels are—" "We're not escaping," Sira interrupted. She'd armed herself with a neural disruptor twice her size, holding it with the confidence of someone who'd already accepted death. "We're burning it down," Arden wanted to argue, wanted to tell her she was too young, that survival was victory enough. But he'd been her age when his world fell, and he knew the lie in those words. Sometimes survival wasn't enough. Sometimes you needed to make the monsters bleed. "Then let's make it burn bright enough that the whole sector sees," he said. They scattered like wraiths, 37 cubs flowing through the facility with the Empire's own training turned against it. Arden heard explosions echoing from the detention blocks as prisoners were freed. Smelled smoke rising from the administrative wing where records of 1,000 atrocities would be reduced to ash. He found Sira in the central branding chamber, surrounded by 4 guards. She was bleeding from a dozen wounds, but she'd painted the human symbol on the wall behind her in their blood. 3 guards already lay at her feet. Arden eliminated the fourth with a headshot, catching Sierra as her legs finally gave out. "Did we do it?" she gasped. "Will they remember?" Through the chamber's windows, Arden could see flames consuming the facility. Could see freed prisoners fighting their way to ships, cubs wielding weapons with the desperate fury of the damned. Could see, most importantly, the human symbol burning on every wall, every door, every surface the rebellion had touched. "They'll remember," he promised. The facility's core detonated 17 minutes later, visible from orbit. The Calraxian fleet responded immediately, but found only debris and escape pods already jumping to hyperspace. In the aftermath, Imperial investigators discovered something that would haunt their reports for years to come. Every surface was marked with the human symbol, not branded, not painted, burned into the metal itself with such heat that even the explosion couldn't erase it completely. And in the ruins, they found a message burned deepest of all, in script that matched the claws of a young predator cub. "You tried to mark us. We marked ourselves. We are the free. We are the defiant. We are human now." Sierra's signature sat below it, alongside Arden's. The Empire had tried to brand cubs with their mark of ownership. Instead, the cubs had etched the human symbol of rebellion in ash and blood and unbreakable will. And across 100 worlds, in 1,000 facilities just like this one, other cubs were learning to draw that same symbol in the dark, waiting for their own chance to burn the Empire down.